Hey everyone, welcome to Aude and Tulava. I've spoken to multiple people who have read Lord of the Rings and have skipped the prologue. As a general completionist, that to me is just horrifying. As a lover of Tolkien's works, it's unconscionable. There are so many good little nuggets of information that inform how I see the story in my head as I read it. Now, first things first, hobbits don't have giant feet. There, I said it. It seems this farce started by the brothers Hildebrand. They portrayed hobbits with comparatively large feet, and this was, of course, perpetuated with the Jackson movies. But the prologue says they seldom wore shoes since their feet had tough leathery soles and were clad in the thick curling hair. Nothing about the feet being large for their body. Now, looking back at our last video about who wrote The Lord of the Rings, we have to assume Bilbo wrote the prologue. And if you keep that in mind, some of the information about the hobbits becomes a little bit more funny and again helps inform us how to read the rest of the book. First, hobbits are fond of simple jests at all times, and further on, a love of learning other than genealogical lore was far from general among them. That statement seems a bit of a jest to me really right from the start. Bilbo here, while giving us good information to understand the interactions of the hobbits in the book, then makes fun of the hobbits in general by saying they're not really fans of learning. Even then, he goes on to say there are some hobbits that go for that sort of thing. They even get news from elves, dwarves, and men. He's clearly talking about himself. He doesn't go so far as to call them idiots, but he's subtly saying, those hobbits over there, they're simple folk. I'm the one who actually knows what's going on in this world. And I mean, and honestly, he's not wrong when we come down to it. Sam will often remind us of his parochial outlook on life. And even he learned from Bilbo. And we need to keep in mind, hobbits love simple jests at all times. We in the community call this hobbitry. It's good friends having a jab here and there at each other. You'll see this over and over between the four hobbits in the company. This lasts all the way into Return of the King. I love it, and it's hilarious, so keep an eye out for that as you read. Bilbo gives us a quick history of where the hobbits come from. Falhide's stores and the now, of course, infamous Harfoots. He leads into an interesting section about the one battle the hobbits ever fought in the Shire. It's a short half paragraph about the battle, and then he spends a whole paragraph talking about the hardiness of hobbits. Not that they go out all the time searching for danger and trek all over, but that they love good, easy things, yes, but they could survive rough handling by grief, foe, or weather in a way that astonished those who did not know them well. This little statement by Bilbo will be proven time and time again as you work through the book. Even the comfortable hobbits that aren't a part of the company do more than anyone, but us perceptive readers really would know. The other big piece I want to talk about is the prologue concerning pipeweed. So despite how Peter Jackson portrayed smoking in his movies, it's simply tobacco. The prologue says it's probably a variety of nicotiana, and just a few sentences later calls it tobacco. Maybe I don't need to address this, but it's something that just bugs the crap out of me. It's pipe tobacco. That's it. Tolkien smoked the pipe with the Inklings and the Eagle and Child. I could be wrong, but I highly doubt he'd really throw weed into the mix. Anyway, a quick recap of how the One Ring was found is brought in. Bilbo, of course, we know this story. Bilbo goes on an adventure, gets into a riddle battle with Gollum. After he, already finding the ring, he escapes, eventually gets back home to Hobbiton after, of course, many, many, many adventures. The piece to keep in mind here is the first edition of The Hobbit had a completely different ending to the riddle game. Gollum was going to give Bilbo the ring if he won, but Bilbo already found it, so Gollum showed Bilbo the way out. Abridged version, of course. The great part about this is as Tolkien wrote The Lord of the Rings, he discovered what the One Ring really was and how powerful it was. So he went back, rewrote the Riddles in the Dark chapter and explained it away, saying, well, the first version, it's the one Bilbo told people, so they didn't think he stole the ring. And kind of as a side note, that's one reason the first edition of The Hobbit is so expensive to collect. They're quite different than the second edition and therefore pretty darn rare. And that's it. That's the prologue. Next video, we'll start moving through chapter 1. I suggest checking out the maps in the book or lotrproject.com It's a great way to familiarize yourself with the lay of the land, gives you a really good idea of where and how far the hobbits travel through the book. Finally, thank you so much for watching. For much more Lord of the Rings and Tolkien related videos, please like and subscribe. Until next time, Aude and Tulava, they shall come again.